Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell, musical comedy that's basically this generation's version of Scrooged. Yeah, it sounds crazy, and it absolutely 100% works. Hi, my name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome back to another episode of Podio Commentary, and today I'm very happy to be talking about Spirited, the new musical comedy from Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell over on Apple TV Plus. And like I said in the intro, yeah, it works. It works. It fundamentally works on so many levels because it shouldn't. On paper, it comes across like just another dumpster fire. It is a knockoff of Charles Dickens. We've seen this multiple times. It's Will Ferrell, who hasn't necessarily had a lot of great performances recently, and Ryan Reynolds, who has been heavily criticized for roughly just playing the same character over and over and over again. People like him when he does that. But then my question becomes, can the two of them intersect with each other and use their energies to bounce off one another? And the truth of the matter is, absolutely. Like, the two of them work hilariously well with one another. And I found myself enjoying the movie from start to finish. Even though I'm not the biggest musical fan, the songs aren't necessarily like the most show-stopping. You're going to be humming them to yourself necessarily. Well, with the exception of one, Good Afternoon. When you get to that part in the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'll probably talk about it later on in the review. But still, that scene is really funny because of the context of the song, the twist of which it's talking about, and Ryan Reynolds using a Cockney accent. Gotta love it, man. Anyway, the movie is very much a take on Scrooged, right? Instead of it being a television producer, you've got a public relations manager, this time played by Ryan Reynolds, who is deemed irredeemable in the eyes of Jacob Marley, who oversees the holiday haunt division of the afterlife. We don't really get a lot of info about who's running the show behind the scenes, but we do find out that Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future are all working together in unison with a massive stage production team in order to find a way to redeem somebody every holiday season. They basically take A Christmas Carol and they find a person out there who needs it. The movie starts off with Rose Byrne effectively playing a woman named Karen, a little on the nose, if you will, but still worked out for the context. Them redeeming her and then her actually becoming a better person as a result. Then Will Ferrell, who's been doing this for a couple hundred years, wants to retire. His retirement, for some reason, allows him to re-enter the human world and to live out his life as a human, which seems kind of weird considering the fact that he was already human and then he already died when he was considerably in his 50s. So I don't quite know what that means, but it doesn't really matter. Don't overthink it. They decide to go after a guy who runs a hotel because he's truly a terrible person. But in the process, they encounter Calvin Briggs, played by Ryan Reynolds, who puts on this musical number about Christmas trees and how it's a culture war over Christmas trees, and how, because he's at the National Association of Christmas Tree Growers, who are upset that Amazon is sending out all of these plastic trees and that is just decimating their business. So he comes out with this entire song and dance, literally, about how the culture war is there, about how you need to feed into hate, how you need to treat it as this nostalgic, and anyone who's against real Christmas trees clearly hates Christmas and just wants to abort all the babies. That's my inference on that. And it works really well for the context of what they're going for by trying to adapt the Ebenezer Scrooge storyline. But again, Ryan Reynolds does it in such a way where he definitely embodies playing a dick. He likes being a dick, but through the course of the movie, he does warm up and soften himself up quite a bit, obviously, while going on the journey with Will Ferrell. And I think when the two of them get going, when the two of them go into the whole thing themselves, I just found it to be a lot of fun, because whenever they would set something up with Ryan Reynolds' character, they would also juxtapose that with a life lesson for Will Ferrell's character. And that just worked really well as your A story and your B story, giving them each a path to redemption, but for different reasons. And the big twist of the movie that I really enjoyed was obviously who Will Ferrell was. I actually didn't see that coming specifically. I figured it was going to be referenced at some point because of the whole irredeemable aspect of it, but the fact that it it was Will Ferrell's character, I thought was really, really, really interesting. And I was like, oh, okay. And then from there, he's been trying to redeem himself, and he still doesn't necessarily think that he's the most worthy, even though he is desperate to have a nice home, a wife, kids, the white picket fence, the whole shebang. That's what he ultimately wants. But I don't think he believes that he is worthy of it, even though he has dedicated his afterlife to trying to redeem people who are otherwise considered horrible individuals who are just complete pieces of crap. And that is one of the things I really enjoy about the movie, is just like them trying to like figure each other out and work with each other. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about the movie, is the two of them working together. But what I also really like is the commentary about social media and about like how terrible we are to each other, and how ultimately, like, one of the stories about Ryan Reynolds' niece who was running for student council, them digging up dirt on like an 8th grader and finding out this really bad piece of dirt that ultimately leads him to killing himself, was a really, really, really interesting take on things. And I was like, wow, yeah, no, totally. Like, we don't think about the ripple effect of what we do when we post on social media. And that is something that this movie very much hammers home in the end. And they do it through song and dance and things like that, ultimately leading to a true redemption for Ryan Reynolds' character, and then for him to find his purpose. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really poignant, very indicative of the times. And it did it in a way that was funny, and it had enough there for kids. It had enough there for adults. There's a lot of jokes. The whole good afternoon bit was really funny. And I feel like the fact that the creative team behind the 2008 comedy Sex Drive, being the guy who wrote and directed this, is very fascinating to me. But if you've seen Spirited, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions on it down in the comment section. Any movie you want me to review, let me know. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Thanks again, and peace out.